I think there's a lot of cat and mouse going on here. As a sporting director, I used to do this a lot. So I used to call up a club, big club, and say, right, can you put in a bid in? And that would get my owner to basically put a higher bid in. It's a bit like an auction, isn't it? I don't think Manchester City actually want to sign Declan Rice. I think what's going on here is Arteta's picked up the phone to Pep, said, listen, Arsenal are going to do the sort of incremental bid approach. If you put a higher bid in, that will push my owner to I think there's a bit of that going on here.
What, for speed then? They just want it to happen quicker?
Well, for speed, but to get the deal done. Because, West Ham obviously want a certain valuation. I think I read 120 million.
Why don't Arsenal just go and pay it then?
Well, this is the thing. I don't know why Arsenal are doing this incremental approach, but it says to me that Man City coming in sort of later on, it feels like they're trying to, it's going to help Arsenal. Because the fans are going to get on it now and say, hold on a second, Declan Rice, if you let Declan Rice go to Man City when he was our number one target, that says a lot about Arsenal. Well, so I think there's a bit of that going on. I used to do it all the time, and it used to work.
Say whatever you want to say about that woman. And I know I said something about her yesterday when she was saying this thing. But when you look at situations now, 12 hours later, you can see that maybe she might have been telling the truth. Because, of course, all of a sudden, City were told that they were in this race for Declan Rice. And people did not believe it. They just thought they were in the race. And they put only one bid. It was only one bid that Manchester City put. And all of a sudden, the Cronkies and Edu came 100% heavy on the Rice deal, put 100 and something that we now know that West Ham did not deny, did not say that they don't want it. They just said that they wait to see what City are going to offer. And also in terms of the wage structures, it seemed like it was not what West Ham wanted, but that was the mark that they wanted, £100 million plus 5 own add-ons and whatever that is going to happen here. Now look at it. It is done. She might have been saying something crazy, but look at how the situation is turning up. Maybe she was telling the truth. That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Listen to this next video that is coming.
Things swing back and forth very quickly in the transfer window, particularly when you're Declan Rice. And, of course, he's been coveting the attention of two of the best teams in the Premier League last season. We know it's been going back and forth day by day over the course of the last 7 or 10 days with regards to the pursuit of the West Ham captain. We know that Arsenal have put in a series of offers that have been rejected. Manchester City joined the table late with their offer that was also rejected. And then late last night, we had that third offer from Arsenal, which totalled a package of £105 million. As of yet, West Ham haven't responded. However, what's happened in the last hour or so is that Manchester City have decided that he is not the player for them, and there is clearly a different valuation. They will not be trying to match or better Arsenal's third and latest offer. So therefore, Manchester City have pulled out of the race to sign Declan Rice, which will come as music to the ears of Arsenal fans. We know that Mikel Arteta and Edu have made him their number one target during this summer transfer window. He was a player that was interesting Manchester City, but they have decided that the money is not working for them and they have pulled out of the race.
You are hearing what this guy is saying. He's talking about how Manchester City discovered that Declan Rice was not the player for them. Maybe, of course, it might be what West Ham were asking for, or maybe what Arsenal have put on to West Ham, which maybe made them change their mind. Maybe after now that they've put something that West Ham have accepted and were willing to listen to what Man City was going to offer, something could have happened. But as things stand now, it looks like they are not going to even try to evaluate or even to match what Manchester City have demanded. And now they're thinking is not the player for them. Sounds a little bit fishy when you think about it. Now it's no longer the player of them. What was the purpose of Manchester City getting into this bid? What was the purpose? If you really think about it, it was only to push Arsenal. That is the only purpose that still stands even up to now. It was only to push Arsenal so that they can get to the point where, West Ham would actually accept something that Mikel Arteta wanted from the beginning, because Arsenal was trying to get the cheapest deal ever. That's why they were playing this tug of war, just trying to test the waters, move on and seeing what West Ham wants. But now when the bigger club came in, like what the other lady was saying, that you would talk to a bigger club which you have a good relationship with. Which other team has a good relationship with Mikel Arteta when you think of it? Manchester City, a bigger club where you think really, when you really think about it now, when you look at everything, Pep Guardiola has no reason to actually want Declan Rice. He signed, of course, the Chelsea coveted as a replacement of Ilkay Gundogan. The perfect replacement who can actually do what Ilkay Gundogan was doing. What was the purpose of going for this? People ask questions about that. You can see that even though we made fun of this lady, things like this, it is making sense at the end of the day. What do you think?
West Ham said at the beginning of the window that they wanted a fee of around £120 million for Declan Rice. Now, how that was made up was obviously open to negotiation. Now, West Ham really have the ball in their court now because they've had two teams that are both desperate to try and sign Declan Rice. And they've been able to almost play them off in an auction-style process, which is what's essentially happened over the last few days. Now that one of the big players has pulled out of the race, that leaves Arsenal as the only team, really, that are operating in the financial parameters that West Ham want to be operating in. So they've got a little bit of a difficult situation, West Ham. Now, do they decide to reject that third offer, thinking that Arsenal may come back in for a fourth one? Or do they say, we believe this is the most amount of money that we're going to get for Declan Rice, therefore we will accept this third proposal? They, of course, can still negotiate with Arsenal, but Arsenal may have just felt like their hand has been strengthened by Manchester City no longer being at the table, because Arsenal would turn around to West Ham and say, well, OK, sell Declan Rice to someone else. And they'll look around the room and there's no one else there now. I think one of the other things that's significant about Manchester City's pursuit of Declan is that they have always historically never paid more than they feel is the value of a player. You saw it when they were pursuing Harry Maguire. He eventually went to Manchester United. The fees that were being quoted, the fee that Manchester United paid in the end, wasn't something that Manchester City were comfortable with. The same with Marc Cucurella, who went to Chelsea from Brighton. They were interested in him again, but the fees, they weren't happy. So what you're seeing, despite Manchester City's power when it comes to spending money and the perception that they spend whatever they want to get the players they want, once again they're walking away from this deal. So it's fascinating to see how it will play out. But I certainly feel like Arsenal, Edu and Mikel Arteta, who know that Declan Rice wants to join them, will be sat back thinking our third and final offer could be the one that gets the man we want.
This makes sense, you know, when you now really think about it. Now, the power is now back at a step where we call a level state. Because already Manchester City getting into this deal has already forced the Arsenal to go above their means, above what they were thinking to do, and set a new record, which has forced out Manchester City out of the door. So West Ham, of course, they were enjoying when they were in this level of power, where they were playing around to say that they can do this and they can do this. Now that they know that Man City is out, Arsenal do know that. They know that even though they've already stretched more than what their means were meant to be, they can now start playing around with what they have, which is exactly what they have right now. The man that they've already put. Now it's a matter of time for them. They can wait, whatever Declan Rice, whatever West Ham will want to see. Arsenal knows that that third and final offer is exactly what West Ham will accept. Because guess what? There's no longer any Manchester City that is going to be pushing Arsenal now. They know that it's just a matter of time before there is a final agreement. When there is an agreement that they wanted, now they know that they get the player that they wanted. And of course, it makes sense. Manchester City, if they feel like you are just trying to play around with them, you are trying to use the British checks against them, they are a club that are known to walk away. Like they are saying, Cucurella, they walked away. Harry Maguire, they walked away. And of course, so many players that are out there. And when you think about it with those players, it actually played well for them, because some of the players didn't really turn out as perfectly as the rest of the world really expected. But as you can see, Arsenal knows that Declan Rice is going to be their player. And they know that he wants to be part of them. They know that he wants to come to their club. What's going to happen? We just have to wait and see The deal is still not yet accepted, but we know that things are moving forward.
He'll be excited. I think he'll be pleased in a way that Manchester City, whilst he would have been flattered by their interest, the fact that they've just won the treble, you've got Pep Guardiola, you've got an incredible team there. I think if he had the option to go to Man City and that was the only option on the table, he would have taken that with both hands. But I think the fact that Arsenal have been there for such a long period of time, they've been big admirers of Declan Rice for a number of seasons, and it feels like this is the right time. His personal choice was to go to Arsenal, which is something we've said continuously on Sky Sports News. He always had his heart set on joining the Gunners, and I think he'll be pleased that this now feels like it's coming to an end, because he doesn't want to spend the whole of his summer looking at his phone, getting phone calls from his agent, speaking to his family, and constantly being distracted by what may or may not happen. When it gets confirmed, when it gets accepted, he can then start his summer focusing on Arsenal and relaxing, knowing that he's got a brand new era, a brand new exciting chapter in his life to come. And I think the longer these things drag on, the more damage it almost does to him personally, whereas now it feels like we're getting to the final hurdles of this deal.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, you can see that everything that Declan Rice has had to go through was absolutely amazing. He has now discovered that he is worth the pool of that amount of money. At the same time, he's going to the club that he wanted to go through, where he feels like there's something to build, and in the long term he will be a captain and he's going to be played more games. And on top of that, he knows that even bigger teams like Man City wanted them in their clubs. They believe that he can work on something. So yes, he deserves to go relax. Do me a favor, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Click the like button, subscribe to the Connect. I want to hear, what do you think about this crazy Declan Rice saga? And is Arsenal the place he has gone, the best place for him? I'm out. Peace.